Ben here, recording a draft video. We're going to be doing my first one of these in quite a while. I'm going to be doing the traditional Kaldheim queue. Kaldheim, I don't know, command pronunciation. Anyway, we're going to wait for this queue to fill up and then see how it goes. I've been drafting this set a lot for the past couple of weeks. It's pretty fun. I don't think it's as good as Zendikar, but what is really? But I like the Foretold mechanic. I think that's another like A+ mechanic by them. Helps mitigate Flood and Screw, lets you spend your mana. And I've always liked Snow. Although from what I've seen so far, Snow's been a little underdrafted. Hopefully Arena will catch up. Because I think if there's like 3 Snow drafters per draft like there should be, it'll be pretty balanced. But if there's only 1 Snow drafter in a pod, that deck gets pretty busted. Always that one last person. Click ready, click ready. We want to draft. At least 7 of us do anyway. Looks like we might have to re-queue. Nope, just in the nick of time. Alright, let's see. Fumarole, this card's fine. Sorcery, 4 damage removal. You can get some mana back out of it. I mean, obviously it's like, good removal. Like it's like, first, second, third pick quality removal. But it's not a broken card. This card is more like a common than it is a rare. I mean, just compare this to Demon Bolt. Like, I think Demon Bolt's better. Demon Bolt's an instant. You don't get the snow mana back. Clarion Spirit, I like a lot. I found this format to be pretty slow. Flyers perform well. It's really easy to double spell in the Foretold format. So this is a really nice uncommon, I think. Probably better than the rare. Runa Flight's good. Blue's pretty controlling in this format, but giving flying to a creature is really valuable. So assuming you're not like a snow control deck, but you're like, a blue-white creature deck or something, this card is excellent. It's not that good for like a snow deck, though. Path is great for 4 or 5 color snow. Not some bomb, though. Not something I'm looking to first pick. The commons are actually really weak in this pack. Mistwalker's probably the best of the commons. For me, though, this is Clarion Spirit first, Fumarole second. Okay, well, that's going to make this a pretty easy second pick. Shepherd of the Cosmos is awesome. If this isn't obvious, the more expensive a card is, the more Foretell is worth on it. Because the biggest drawback of 6-drops is not that you literally pay 6 mana, it's that you have to draw 6 lands to cast them. So with Shepherd, if you drew 4 or 5 lands, you're going to be able to still play this card, get a 3/3 flyer, and get back your 2-drop. Whereas if it didn't have Foretell, it would never get cast. Whereas if you look at like a 3-mana card with Foretell like Demon Bolt, if you have 2 mana to foretell it, you probably have 3 to play it anyway. I mean, sometimes you don't, but like you just hit land drop 3 a lot more often than you hit land drop 6. So that's why Foretell is worth a lot more on a 6 or 5 drop than it is to bring down the casting cost, so you don't have to have drawn that many lands than it is on like a 3 mana card like Demon Bolt. Demon Bolt's fantastic, but the Foretell is not worth very much. On something like Shepherd, Foretell's worth a lot. It's also just a great card. If it wasn't in the pack, I'm not sure what I would take after my first pick. None of these cards are really great follow-ups to it. The Starhome Courser has been a bit of an overperformer for me. Because 3-mana 2/2 flyer isn't really a great card in this day and age, but it's not like far from playable. So as soon as you get like 1 mana back out of that, it's a pretty good card. And if you lower the cost of like more than 1 artifact or enchantment, it's actually a really good card. Alright, so the white cards in this pack, pretty bad. Like Doomscar Oracle's playable, but it's total filler. I like this Ravenous Lindworm a lot. For anybody who doesn't follow me on Twitter, I tweeted about like this card in particular. This is the best I've ever seen like a 6-mana 6/6 be. And like, I just think this card is like a good green common that you're happy to have 2 of. I'm not sure if we're going to take it here or not. It's not at the best with, some white weenie creatures. Not that anything good in this pack really is. I mean, Morite's good if you're, snow. Root of Mortality is good if you're black. It'll be good in a white-black creature deck. We're not black yet. Same thing with Depart the Realm if we go white-blue. Axeguard Cavalry, I think, is actually going to be my pick. I think people are taking this card a little too high these days, but it is a really strong 2-drop that gives haste to all your bigger, better stuff after. And red and white are the 2 most aggressive colors in this format. that doesn't mean to draft aggro you need to be red-white. Like, you can be red-black, you can be white-black, you can be red-green, whatever. But they do pair well together to make the most aggressive deck. So if you're deciding on a really close pick, like, for example, the 6-mana 6/6 gain for Axguard Cavalry third pick, if you have 2 white cards, then and those 2 cards, in my opinion, are pretty close in power level, that can lean you towards the Axguard Cavalry. Unfortunately, now, though, we're not really seeing that. Like, now there's better cards. Like, if last pick there had been a struggle in the pack, I would not have took Axguard Cavalry. I would have took struggle. Same thing with Bergstrider, which is a lot better than, the bounce spell. So now we're looking at, like, there's a Courser, a card that I like, but now the best cards in this pack are Bergstrider and Struggle. So I think we just have to go with Struggle here. This card is just too much better than Firewalker and Axguard Cavalry. I'm not going to lean that hard towards red. Then I'm going to pass on 4th pick Struggle. Second best green common. One of the first times in a while that the green fight spell isn't actually the best green common, because you have Packmate, which is probably the best common in the whole set. But that said, Struggle's still a good fight spell. I mean, this is, Hunt the Weak with Foretell. And of course, we're just going to take it again here. I mean, it's like the best card in this whole pack overall. Braggart's a fine 4-drop, nothing special. So we don't know where we're going to go from here. I mean, remember, these were our first 2 picks. They're good cards, but I definitely don't want to force white. Shepherd's single white on the Foretell, so you could always splash it in a snow deck or something. Snow decks are quite good at splashing. So here I think, it's a pretty easy Sculptor over Braggart, I think. Braggart's like a fine 4-drop, but it's not exciting. Another thing I tweeted about the format was that creatures 3/4 or bigger overperform, and that makes Kinseekers a lot better than it looks. This is one of the cards that if I write something about most overperforming commons, along with that 6/6 gain 4 green dino, Kinseekers is going to be one of the ones I include for sure. Because a 2/4 is good, not great, because it stops all the 3/3s and 3/2s, which there's a lot of. But once that thing turns into a 3/5, it's awesome. It can really, swing a board. So I actually really like that card. I'm not considering it here, of course. I'm going to take Sculptor, but I just wanted to talk about it a little while it was in the pack. So now we have a really difficult pick. I mean, Kaya's Onslaught is an excellent trick. I mean, first, second, third pickable trick once you're, already white. We've got 3 straight green picks. Seems like we're seeing snow, but we don't need to be snow. We just have 1 2/2 that is better if you have snow lands. I mean, Ice-Eyed Troll is excellent in a dedicated snow deck, but Kaya's Onslaught's better than Ice-Eyed Troll if we play white-green. I haven't really drafted a white-green creature deck in this format, but it looks like this might be the draft for it if we're getting a 6-pick Kaya's Onslaught and we already have 2 basically first-pickable white cards. I do think we're in a snow seat, though, so I'm not really sure how this draft's going to shape out. I mean, I'm always glad when a draft is interesting when I'm making a video and not just super simple. Obviously, I mean, whatever it is, drafting the hard way and staying open can be that knowledge can allow you to draft good decks in difficult seats. But if you first pick a green, red, gold rare, and you second pick a green card, third pick a red card, and they're the best cards in the pack, and draft green, red, that's a good thing. That's how a lot of your best decks will come out. Snakeskin Veil, again, this is another card worth talking about. So we've seen a card like this before that gave +1/+1 till end of turn in hexproof. That card was nowhere near as good. I think the +1/+1 counter it's not, I mean, it might seem like a similar card. I mean, I'm not saying it isn't a similar card, but it has a lot more value. Like, basically every time you played that other card, you won for 1, and maybe you traded up mana. This time you won for, you 1.2 for 1. Like, I won't call it 2 for 1ing when you're getting a +1/+1 counter left behind, but you trade your Snakeskin Veil for their removal or their creature, and then you still keep the value of the +1/+1 counter. So don't sleep on that. Here I'm going to take the blue snow creature in case we do go blue-green snow. That black creature is good in black aggro decks, but I don't see how we end up there. I mean, green is our best color, white is our second best color. If we end up anywhere besides white-green, it's going to be a snow deck that just splashes like Shepherd. I'm going to grab the Lindworm here. Even if I'm a green creature deck, I'm happy to play the Lindworm. It's just a great card. If I do end up green-blue snow, I'm going to be really happy to have it. And that's basically our options from here. Green was wide open this draft. I'm 100% sure we're going to play green. Then we might play green-white, or we might play green-blue and just make like a light white splash or something. And I mean, Glittering Frost is a good ramp card to play with like Bergstrider and Lindworm. So even though our blue is completely unimpressive, our green cards aren't aggressive. They do kind of want to be more of a green-blue snow deck than a green-white creature deck. So unless we get hit really hard with good white cards, I'm probably going to lean towards green, blue, snow from here. To be clear, as I started with Clarion Spirit, I'm definitely not trying to force snow decks. I like White Weenie in this format, virtually all variants of it. But if I'm going to see these struggles laid and then Sculptor laid and Lindworm and Bergstrider tabling and stuff, if you're going to force me, right? So along those lines, I think here we draft Glittering Frost. For white-green, there is a good card in Battershield Warrior, but again, we're not going to be that low to the ground. This card is always fine, but it's at its best with like 1-drops and things like that. I think we're looking to draft green, blue, snow with what we have, or just, base green snow playing whatever. And there's a nice snow card. Narfi is near busted. I mean, it's very easy to make 3 snow lands. If you draw 1 snow land and a Glittering Frost, you put Glittering Frost on your non-snow land, and now you got 3 snow mana. And then this is just a recurring 4/3 that pumps a lot of your team. Even if it doesn't pump any of the other cards, which it always will pump some, of course, like Sculptor's a snow creature. But even if it didn't, this would just be a 4/3 that's unkillable. When it dies, you just pay 3 and bring it back. This card is fantastic. The Nexus is fine. It's not a fast format, making everything a shapeshifter is good, but it's a pretty slow card. Like, I'm going to play it, but I don't find it to be that impressive. I think Narfi is really good. We also have 2 Hawks. It's a pretty good combo. Loot it away, draw a new card, and then bring it back in for 3 mana. Living the dream. Alright, here... This card is good in white-blue, Foretell, but I don't think we have that much. Well, we actually have a little bit of Foretell. We have Shepherd and 2 Struggles, so we have some. The Gates would be good. You could sack it for blue, blue, and a white, and we're probably going to splash white, but I don't think we want to take that here. We'll probably table it. Giant's Amulet is good. I like this whole cycle. I think that the red and the black ones are near busted cards in beatdown decks. The blue and the white one are good, and the green one's, like, fine. I think Bergstrider's the best card in the pack for us. I do wonder if we can table it with how open Snow has seemed. But there's other stuff to table, like the Snow Land or the Gates anyway, so I think I'm just going to take the Bergstrider. So now... There's Kinseekers, which, like I said, I like, but we don't really have Snowlands. I mean, we don't have any red cards to play. We're not going to play Axeguard Cavalry. But, I mean, and look, we have 2 Glittering Frosts, which are make 2 Snowlands and work really well with Sculptor. So I'm not in a bad place like that. I do want to start taking Snowlands a little more aggressively. But we will get some the whole rest of the draft. And red-green doesn't necessarily help us since we don't have any red cards yet. I mean, it would be a comes into play tapped green Snowland. So I think Horizon Seeker is actually the right pick because this searches for snow basics. It searches for a basic land, and Snow Forest is a basic land, Snow Island's a basic land, Snow Plains is a basic land. So I think Horizon Seeker helps us, gives us a nice early drop to make sure we can struggle. Okay, I would take Snow Plains, but not over Behold, the best blue common. I mean, there are some sets where this card would literally be a mythic common. In this set, I think it's a good common, but not a mythic common in the way it performs, because this is a high power format, so card drawing underperforms, but that's not to say this card isn't good. It's still good. Like I said, this is like, really, 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 really powerful for a common. Like, there are formats where this card would feel like it completely swung the game. And it does in this format sometimes as well, but sometimes it doesn't. Icehide, Troll, and Bind the Monster, also both good for the Snow deck. I think Troll is better. Bind is fine. I don't really like to get too many of them. I know we don't have any yet. And the damage is okay to take. You can kill one of those 3/2s for 3 damage, and you trade up 2 mana, or you can kill some big thing. So now it's Morite or Bergstrider. They're both good. We already have a Troll and 2 Bergstriders, and Morite's probably better if we're pretty committed to blue-green. We're doing great on everything except Snowlands. I know I just passed the Snow Plains as I said that, but, I mean, what are you going to do? Glittering Frost does give us Snowlands, and we don't need a ton. I mean, we need to be able to activate Hawk or bring back Narfi. Just grab 3rd Glittering Frost here. I will take Snow Forests and Islands quite aggressively, and I would like to get 1 Snow Plains because we'll probably splash at least Shepherd. But, I mean, I'm not going to grab, comes into play tapped Snow Duels that are 1 color on that aggressively. Target legendary creature becomes a god in its addition to its other types. Put some swing counter on it. Put an indestructible counter on a god. I think we'd rather just grab Kinseekers, which is a god. It's a shapeshifter, so it's everything. So at this point, I feel like we're 100% committed to blue-green. I mean, our blue is just good. Maybe we'll splash white, maybe we won't. Kaya's Onslaught's a great beatdown card, but I'm probably not going to splash it into a blue-green snow off a light splash. So it'll probably look something like this. Maybe we'll play the Spirit, maybe the Shepherd, maybe we won't. That white-blue duel, it's a snow duel. That helps bring us a long way towards splashing white. As does this white land. These things are actually excellent off the splash, because this can give you your white mana for your splash color, and then if you draw another white source, you can sack it, because it's only single white to sack, but it's 2 blue. These gates, they're awesome, these things. They're almost like, I don't think they're all called gates, are they? Whatever, doesn't matter. Anyways, these spell lands, they're like the ones from Zendikar, the MDFCs, the land spells, except they're like if you got to play the land in the early turns, and then use them for mana, and then sack them for a spell when you no longer needed lands, instead of having to decide. Don't sleep on these things, they're great. Virtually all of them, if they're on color for you, are strong cards. Like, on the value of exactly what they do, I think the black-white one is pretty clearly the best. You get a 4/4 Angel for, like, 4 mana. But, like, they're all fine. Like, there's none of them that I can use in my 2-color combination or 3-color combination that I wouldn't play. We have a lot of playables. I'm guessing we're not going to splash Clarion Spirit. It's a great early drop, but it's not a good late game card when you finally find your splash mana. I guess it can be good to double spell with on like turn 4 or 5, but I just doubt it's going to end up happening. In Search of Greatness, this card is neither horrible nor great. It should be titled In Search of Medium, because this is the kind of rare that people think is either busted or they think is unplayable. And in reality, scry 1 a turn for green is fine. Occasionally you'll put in a permanent with it, but remember it's other, so you're not like ramping something out turn 3. And you have to have green to cast it. Like this card is, which you'll always have by like turn 5 or 6, but you won't necessarily always have on turn 2. Like I said, totally fine, nothing exciting. Here, I think we probably just want another Glittering Frost. I know I already have 3, but we have a pretty good late game. That's our fixing. We're going to ramp out this good stuff. Ravenous Lindworm Shepherd, we have the land, Morite, Narfi, 2 Bergstriders. I think Glitter Frost is pretty good for us. So now there's Behold, Lindworm, and Snow Forest. And I might make a pick that will really shock people here and take Snow Covered Forest. I'm hoping to table this Lindworm. I definitely would play 2 in this deck with all these Glittering Frosts. But it's not, this is a clear third for me out of this pack. It's between Forest and Behold. I guess Priest would be okay too, but we don't actually have that many snow lands. This is all snow permanents right now. Oh no, it's just snow lands? Oh, yeah, so Priest isn't going to be good for us. So yeah, it's Forest or Behold. We have a Behold. I would definitely play 2 with all this ramp and stuff, but I want the first one to search out with the Horizon Seeker. We're pretty light on, we're really light on snow lands. We literally have 1. So I think, like, at this point, the Glittering Frosts are sort of like Snowlands, too. They really are. But nonetheless, we're still kind of low on Snowlands, and it's pack 3. So I don't think Reflections is good. I know this card can be powerful, but it's super slow. Giant's Amulet's good in a snow deck. I'd be happy to play it. Arnie Slays the Troll is good. I'd be happy to splash it. Like, we don't even have to play Mountain. We already have 4 Glittering Frost to cast it. That said, we already have a black card we actually are going to play for sure, so I think we just grab our 1 Snow Swamp. The next Snow Swamp I'll value much lower, because I don't actually want to put 2 Swamps in my deck, but I want 1 so I can search it out with Horizon Seeker, and we have a black card. So I'm happy to take the first Snow Swamp pretty aggressively. Sticking with the theme of Pack 3, hey, we got all the power cards in Pack 1 and 2, we still needed the Snowlands, Pack 3 is delivering. This is an easy Snow Island. Like, whereas I felt like the pick with Behold was pretty close, even the last pick with the Swamp was pretty close, this is just Snow Island by miles. Like, sure, I'd play Kinseek or Mentor maybe, but this is the easiest Snow Island of all time. So now we gotta think if we can actually play Maja. Maja is near busted. Now, we're planning to splash white. We have a blue-white duel, a white land that sacks, so we'll probably put 1 basic Plains or Snow Plains in our deck. But we do have these 4 Glittering Frost. Now, they only give us 1 white. They tap, you add 1 mana of any color plus whatever the land actually taps for. With a Sculptor, that could be 2, or if we draw 2 of them. Otherwise, out of this pack, we'd be taking Horizon Seeker, which would be good for us, but nowhere near the power level of Maja. So I think it's worth trying to cast this card. We're probably going to play long games. This card is very good, like near busted. So there's the black land of that cycle I'm talking about that I said was probably the best one, just on the power level. I'm not speaking in terms of colors or, things like that. But just you get a 4/4 Angel for 4 mana. That's ridiculous out of your land slot. It even has Vigilance. But here, the clear pick for us is Fall of the Imposter. 2+1/+1 counters, and then kill their best creature for 3 mana? Yes, please. This Saga Cycle's pretty good, and this might be the best of them. So our White Splash just got heavier, so we'll take a look at that Clarion Spirit. Runeforge Champion's great if you can search for a rune, but otherwise it's 3 mana, 2/3, no ability. We don't have any runes. Usher the Fallen's a good 1-drop, but not a good splash card into a snow deck, so it looks like we grab another Gates. So now, we could take Path. We can use this card quite well with 4 Glittering Frosts. We would also love a green-white duel and like an Ice-Eyed Troll, so this is a tough pick. I guess we'll play a Plains if we have to. It sucks I didn't pick up a Snow Plains, but I think we probably want the Path. Given we have 4 Frosts, 4 Glittering Frosts, we should be able to pop that thing. I don't think we're going to play Third Hawk. You can always loot away multiple copies, but Hawk's not really that great a card. I don't even know if we're going to play the ones we have. I didn't get many 2-drops, so I probably will play these Hawks, but they're really just not that great. Ironically, I like this gate a lot. I just don't know how many white lands we can put in our blue-green deck. And, like, you know, this is our 3rd copy of this, and we kind of need a Plains. I mean, I guess I don't have to play a basic Plains. No, I do, because both Path and Sculptor, or not Sculptor, sorry, Horizon Seeker. Both Path and Horizon Seeker search for basic Plains, and we have a good amount of white cards, so I have to play at least 1 Plains. I mean, like I said, all these lands are good, and these are spell lands for a deck that's ramping to use its mana, so I don't mind playing 18 lands or 17 lands and all these Glittering Frosts, because if we flood, we'll just sack these lands. But I'm still not sure how many of them we can play, just not because you can't play that many tap lands. If I was a 2-color white-blue deck, I'd play any number of this card within reason. But the problem is, in this case, we have to get enough green and blue sources. Now, granted, with all this fixing, the Path can go get an island, the 4 Glittering Frosts. Maybe we won't need that many islands in our deck, even if we have, like, Pilfering Hawks and stuff. So we'll see when we do the mana how many white sources we can fit in. So the most important thing here is going to be green sources. With Path and Horizon and 4 Glittering Frosts, that gives us basically like 5 sources of all our other colors, like as long as we have a forest. For anybody who's never heard me talk about this, I count cards like Glittering Frost when I'm doing my mana or Path of the World tree as every color but green, because you have to already have a green to cast them, but if you have a green, they can give you blue, white, red, or black. So I'll view these as like a blue, white, red, or black duel, basically, but I won't count them towards my green sources. They can help with second green for something like Lindworm, but that costs 6, so it's not really impacting our mana that much anyway. So anyways, with 5 green fixers here, really, actually 6, Horizon Seeker 2, we're going to want to have like 10 green sources. I know that sounds like a lot, but remember, we're plus 5 blue and white sources because of these, but we're not plus any green sources because we have to draw a green source or we can't cast them. Things like Behold and Hawk can help a little bit with that. So and if we can only play 9, we can only play 9, but ideally we get 10 green sources if there's room. So that's 9, 10. We don't have any green duels or anything, so that's going to make it tough. We certainly don't need 2 swamps. We have our 1 basic snow swamp, so we'll do that. Certainly don't need 2 plains. Even though this card's double white, it's single white with Foretell. We don't. Even though Maj is double white, like whatever. We have 2 cards that search for plains in our whole deck. I don't expect we're going to search twice. Path searches once, Horizon Seeker searches once when it attacks, can search a second time, but whatever. So if we did something like this right off the bat, that's 4, 5, 14, 18 lands, which is totally acceptable with all these gates in our deck. How many blue sources do we have? 3 plus all that fixing. 7, 8. It's not that bad, actually. I think, especially if we want to get away with this high of a land count, maybe we can do this. Maybe there should be like 1 more island. But this might actually be okay. We do have 44 cards here, so let's see what cards we have that are weak and if we want to cut them, and then we can compare our weakest spells to like things like Gates for our last couple cuts. So what's cuttable? Snakeskin Veil's cuttable. It's good. It's an almost auto play, but it's cuttable from a deck like this. Clarion Spirit's cuttable, but with how many white sources it looks like we're going to end up with, I doubt I'm going to cut it. For the record, this card is not cuttable from any 2-color white creature deck. It's cuttable because we're blue-green snow splash white. We're a late-game deck and so on. But we can double spell, so I mean, and if we don't play this turn 2, that's fine. We can play this turn 5 and play something else and trigger it immediately. So I doubt we're going to end up cutting it, but I'm going to put it in the cuttables because it's off the splash. But I would never, ever, 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 ever cut that from like a 2-color white deck. Hawk is cuttable. These 2 green cards are not. I mean, I guess maybe 1 Frost is theoretically cuttable, but I mean, the card is really not. These cards are not cuttable. Ice Tide Troll is practically a mythic common if you're really heavy snow. We're like medium on the snow lands, but it's going to perform well for us with all these Glittering Frosts. Behold's not cuttable. This Frost Yeti is cuttable. Kinseeker's, even though I like it a lot, is cuttable. Bergstrider's not cuttable. Narfi's not cuttable. Morite's not cuttable. Maja's not cuttable, assuming you can cast it. Shepherd, it's not the best off the splash in this deck because we don't have a lot of 2-drops. More reason to get in Clarion Spirit and maybe these Hawks. But it's really not cuttable if you can cast it and it's bringing back 2s, and Lindworm's not cuttable. So I think our spells, we want to play the 2s the most so that we can get the synergy out of Shepherd, have things out early to fight with the struggles, plus just do something on turn 2. So let's go ahead and move in the Clarion Spirit for sure, because we're going to end up with a lot of white sources if you count all these Frosts and white lands like these gates. And then let's assume we'll play like the Hawks probably. We don't need the Yeti. We're not aggro. I don't think we need this Snakeskin Veil in this deck, even though it's a good card. Nor the Kinseekers. However, I think this is too many white lands, and I think 17 lands is still going to be a lot. I mean, Path goes and gets a land, the Hawks, the Sculptor. Yeah, we can loot away extra lands. We can crack these. But I'm still worried about missing my drops. Here's the thing. Of course, we can have 18 lands in this deck with 2 Hawks and, all these lands at sack. We're not going to truly flood. But if we have a lot of lands in our opening 7 or opening 10 or 11 cards, we're less likely to do something on turn 2, 3, or 4. So that's why I think we want to cut like 1 of these gates for another spell, just to make sure we do something on turn 4. I think Kinseekers is probably better for us than Yeti, but it's close. So let me take a look. Birds. I mean, Kinseekers is a shapeshifter, so you just have to have 2 of some other type out to trigger it. Giant Wizard. Whatever you copy, that's not really going to help us. But that's a wizard too. Human warrior, birds. We're pretty all over the place. Spirit. Although this does make spirits. So if we trigger Clarion Spirit once, then we can trigger Kinseekers with Clarion Spirit and the spirit it makes. This thing's an elf rogue. Our creature type is really all over the place. And this is a worm. I don't think we're going to trigger that Kinseekers. I'm going to go for the unblockable creature. Normally in a blue-green snow deck, I think Kinseekers is going to be better than Yeti. I don't actually love this card. But I think in this deck, it's probably better. And I'm not worried about having a lot of 4-drops, because we do have 4 Glittering Frosts. So we go from turn 3 to having 5 mana on turn 4 to play a Bergstrider. So let me check our blue sources, but this looks right to me. 3 lands, 7, 8. Like, this one's not guaranteed. They might kill it, but like 8.5. I wouldn't mind 1 more, but we can't cut the 1 basic plains. So the only way to get in another one, another blue source, would be to cut, like, a Gates. I think this is fine. I mean, I think we can cheat a little bit on blue. I mean, 8 is not that bad. I think this is right. Okay. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in round 1. Welcome back for round 1. Pretty fitting that the first draft video I'm making here is with 4-color snow. This deck, I think, is pretty sweet. Don't know how it's going to go, but I think if I get less than 2-1, I'll be disappointed. Snow really is very good in this format. Like, again, like I mentioned during the draft, 3 or 4 people draft it. It'll be very balanced because it requires, the lands and the payoffs and all of that. But, I mean, if it's open, it's a near-busted deck. Fitting hand to start. So if I draw 1 land, this hand is great. Then I have Glitter Frost, I unlock the whole hand. If I draw no land in 3 draw steps, I do nothing. Is this a keep? Is this a mulligan? It's certainly pretty close. I know I can't cast a single spell, but if I cast 1 spell, Glittering Frost, that if I just draw any land in my deck I can cast, then I can cast the Hawk and loot. I'm only any land away from Bergstrider, any land away from Narfi. I mean, I need a blue or a black, but pretty much any land. It's tough. I'll be disciplined. I know that's not like me. Okay, well, this is much better. Fall of the Imposter is awesome. I mean, we're going to play this Hawk, then Fall. This is going to turn this into like a 3/4 flyer and kill their biggest creature. This card is probably the best of the uncommon sagas, the uncommon gold sagas. Definitely way towards the top, if not just Windmill Slam #1 of the uncommon ones. To be clear, like the Angel Rare making one is better and stuff. Maj is also awesome. Okay, so we're definitely going to put back a land. Probably no question. I assume we'll just put back plains. We can get 2-tap lands in play. Well, actually, no. We want to curve out 2-drop, 3-drop. It's pretty important. So actually, we probably want to put back a tap land, which means I have to put back Gates because I have to have the blue source. Okay, so Gates is going back. We're not really that worried about flooding here, right? We only have 3 lands. We can always even loot away extra lands. I mean, I really like those Gates, especially like the white one. If you haven't realized this yet, they're really good in your splash color because they're always 2 of the other color and 1 of the color that they produce. So, like, for example, if you're mostly blue-green, like, say, we are with Snow, then when you have the white one, if it's your only white land you drew, you're not interested in sacking it because you're using it to cast your splash cards. And then when you draw another white land, you pretty much always have 2 blue to sack it. So they're kind of like the land spells from Zendikar. I think I mentioned this during the draft too, but like it's as if you get to play them and use them for mana and then sack them for the spell half. And they're all pretty powerful. Like I found in Zendikar Rising, some of the land spells, the ones especially that weren't good in the late game, weren't very good. Because a lot of times when they were in your opening hand, you'd want to play them as a land, and then in the late game you draw them and they do almost nothing. Cards like Jwari Disruption would be the perfect example. On the other hand, the ones that were good in the late game, that were powerful cards, were pretty good. Because if they were in a land light hand in your opening hand, then you could always play them as a land, and then not, have this expensive card stuck in your hand. And then when you drew them in the late game, they were very good cards, because you never need land in the late game, or rarely anyway. A Coom Warrior would be a good example of that, or Amari Wizard, stuff like that. Alright, so let's see. So far this game was scripted. Turn 2 Hawk, turn 3 Fall, grow it to a 3/4. Now we can cast Glittering Frost, or we can foretell these. We probably want to develop our mana. We could hit for 3 and take 4 back, or we could hold back our 3/4 to stop their 2/2/1s. I don't really want to trade 3 for 4 right now. I have a powerful late game deck. This card that makes 2/1/1s is pretty good if you're aggro. I don't really know what they have. They could be like a red-green Snow, which is not that common. Snow is primarily blue-green. You can certainly play it like blue-green-red, blue-green-black. You can play like, non-green or non-blue Snow. Also, Snow is not necessarily an all-in deck. Like, when you're blue-green with multiple payoffs, it often is. But in this case, like, they could just have, like, some Frostbites, maybe, like, some Sculptors, and they got this, like, Faceless Haven early and just prioritize some Snow lands. So they can make use of a couple of the Snow commons in red-green. We'll have to see what they're doing. My point, though, was more than likely they're going to be more aggressive than me, so I'm not going to want to trade 3 for 4. Alright, I would not be unwilling to trade with a land here on turn 4. It would be a totally fine trade for my 3/4 flyer, but if they're going to give me a free kill, I'll take it. Now, this is a little bit different, because even though it's 3 for 4, if I hit for 3 and they hit me for 4 back, they're likely not casting anything. So there's a real cost to activating this creature land here on the early turns. So here I think we're definitely going to attack, and then post-combat we'll play Glitter Frost, and then foretell one of these 2 cards. Which one? Unless they kill the Hawk, we're not in a rush to play the Shepherd. Even though normally you want to play creatures before card drawing, of course this one gets back permanent with casting cost 2 or less, like the Hawk if they kill it, or if we trade it off. So I think for now we're more interested in Beholding. More than likely we'll just play Majin next turn anyway, since we're going to have 5 lands. But I think we're just trying, with the order that we foretell here, we're primarily just trying to guess at which spell we'll want to cast first. And there's no way for us to know for sure, but I think it's more likely we'll want to cast Behold before Shepherd, since we don't have anything in the yard to bring back yet. So remember, even though there's a race we're losing, we can spend all of our mana, and they're spending their mana attacking us. So, again, maybe they have nothing they can cast. I'm not criticizing the opponent here. I can't see their hand. They have 6 cards in hand and 2 kinds of mana, but maybe green's a splash. They've only cast a red card so far. They could easily be like blue-red with a light green splash or something. Or they're just they had to activate this into a giant in order to cast squash anyway. So that's what they did. Okay, so here, I can now play Shepherd and get back Pilfering Hawk. And that would be a great turn. But you don't want to miss playing lands after Maja because you're making 2/2s. So I think this turn is almost scripted. I mean, really it is. Even though we have 3 different cards that we could cast and they're all good, I think 100% this turn you just play your Maja. This way we don't play this land and not get a token from it. Now they'll probably kill Maja. Maybe they don't have any more removal. Who knows? And then we still keep this token at least. And then we can play Shepherd and get back Hawk. And then we have Behold, so we're not worried about running out of steam as we head towards the late game. I'm not looking for something better than Hawk to bring back. It's just that if I wanted to cast Shepherd, I would have had to play the island, and then I'd miss making a 1/1. So I just wanted to play the Maja, play the land, get my token, and now if I draw land, I can play it, get another token. If not, I can Shepherd. So now I don't think it's a real decision. Shepherd, bring back Hawk. As long as they don't have a Battle of Frost and Fire here, we should be in pretty good shape this game, given we have a lot of ammunition. Maja's really powerful. Hawk can loot away lands. We have Behold, to give us a lot more ammunition. Battle of Frost and Fire, or whatever it's called, is an incredible card. It's not the most powerful card in the set, but given how easy it is to splash, it might be the #1 card I'd want to open, pick one, pack one, because it's literally like blue-red 3. So, pretty much you're going to play it 100% of the time you open it. Because if you start with it, even if you're not seeing blue-red, you just have to play blue or red, or any green deck, really. And then to pick up the appropriate duels. So yeah, I think it's it's certainly S tier, whether or not it's more or less powerful than Coma or some of the other cards. But I think it could easily be the #1 card I would choose to open, pick one, pack one. So that said, it's an incredible combo with Inga, because Inga is not a giant, and if they play it, they kill all my creatures and their Inga and draw 3 cards. But if they have to kill my creatures one at a time, I like my chances. Now, I can't trade here, because if I block it with my 3/3 flyer and they trade, they'll draw 3 cards. I could chump with the 1/1, but then I run the risk of them having a Frostbite or something, and again, I guess they'd have to kill their own Inga, so that wouldn't be bad for me. So actually, I could chump if I want to. Now, there's 1 dead creature already, so I can't trade. But do I want to chump that with a 1/1? And in a situation like this, it's pretty much, do I want to sack a 1/1 to gain 3? It's that simple. I don't think so. I might use the same 1/1 to chump a 4/3 later, if nothing else. I'm not really afraid to go to 7. Alright, so I think we start with Behold. We still have enough mana for Seeker and to use Hawk if we want to. So let's start with Behold and see what we get. Pretty easy bottom top. And I think that makes this a pretty easy turn. I'm just going to attack in Bergstrider. Inga's a fine target to keep locked down for a turn. We have a second Bergstrider to tap something bigger. Basically, again, feeling really good as long as they don't have a sweeper or something. I know they have this land in play, but that will only kill Hawk at a 1/1. Who cares? I mean, a real sweeper. If they play a creature, I only have 9, not 10, but I can lock down something else, whatever they play, hit them for a lot, still have another Bergstrider and or Horizon Seeker, plus I can leave a 1/1 back if I want to or something like that. Okay, so they played Mistwalker, but that was a nice cheap creature, and they're able to leave this 4/3 up. Doesn't have reach, right? No, Vigilance. So, seems, well, I guess I can't actually attack with much. Well, if I Bergstrider the Mistwalker, then I can smash with whatever I want, including the 1/1, because if they want to eat the 1/1, I'll deal them 8. And I have enough mana to play the Bergstrider and the Horizon Seeker. 2, 4, 5, yes, but I do have to play the land, so that is a little cost, because I could loot the land away with Hawk. Right now, I'm probably not going to look to keep attacking on the ground. I want to keep attacking in the air. I think that is the right play, is just play my 2 creatures. Looting is cool, but this game is probably going to end soon. Let's say they do have the sweeper land, so let's say let's figure it out. Let's say I Bergstrider the Mistwalker and attack with everything. If they trade Bergstrider with their 4/3, they take 5, so they're at 5. The Mistwalker doesn't untap. I have another Bergstrider, but then they can blow up the thing, killing the Pilfering Hawk and the 1/1 and the Seeker. but that looks pretty good still. Because they then have to chump Bergstriders with Inga, I guess. Well, actually, you know what I can do? I can just hit with the flyer here and tie up their mana, because I don't mind trading Bergstrider for the land. I mean, that's about an even trade. But we're at a point in this game where I feel like making them leave the mana up for that could prevent them from being able to sack these lands, because they cost a lot. These are like 5, right? Plus the land. So pretty much all their mana. So if they want to sack the Frostpire, they won't be able to activate the 4/3. So I think this turn, I want to just play my cards. I'm not worried about them sacking the Frostpire, because they'll just die, right? Like, if next turn I attack with everything, and they want to block one of these Bergstriders with Inga and sack Frostpire, they'll still die, because they'll take 7 from the other, 4 from the Bergstrider and 3 from the Shepherd, and they're at 6. So what I want to do is choke their mana and not let them trade. Not because I don't want to trade Bergstrider for the land, but because Bergstrider I already paid for. And in forever, like, I'm never going to have to spend mana to turn it into a 4/4. It's just an in-play 4/4. Anytime they want to turn this into a creature, they have to spend 3 snow mana. And given these things cost 5 plus tapping them to pop, if I would have attacked with the Bergstrider last turn, they could have traded the 4/3 for it. Now I can attack with everything. They can't crack this land, because then they would die, right? I would lose these 3. Inga would block a Bergstrider, and they'd take 7. They can activate a 4/3 and block 2 things. I mean, they're still dead unless they play a removal or something. The only question is, do I send Pilfering Hawk? Because if it doesn't change anything, then I'd rather loot away a forest, of course. So let's say I send the other 5 creatures. They can't sack Pyre, they'd be dead. So let's say they activate this, but maybe they have a bounce spell or a removal, right? So they can stop 3 creatures. Bergstrider, and Shepherd being the 3 biggest, potentially. And then they would take 3, 4 damage, so they wouldn't die. But sending Hawk makes it 5, so they still wouldn't die. So I think it's better to loot with the Hawk than to send it. If they had 1 less point of life, I would send everything, because that means the Hawk would force them to have 2 removal instead of 1. Now, to be clear, I'm not going to play around them having an instant removal. Maybe they have one, maybe they don't. If they do, it's not that devastating for me, right? Their 4/3 is going to die. It's going to trade with any of these 4 creatures. They can't trade with the 1/1, then they would take lethal. Because we know they can't take 2 of any of these 4 creatures, because then they would die. They have 6 life, and all 4 of them have 3 or more power. So, the 4/3, even if they need to have a removal or bounce here to stay alive, but even if they do, the 4/3 is going to die, the Inga's going to die, I mean, they're going to need to draw cards and all of that. But they're not going to swing back for lethal or something. They're going to lose these 2 creatures. If they don't have anything, then they're just dead. All right, so I'm probably going to activate Seeker if they're not dying, but right now we're presenting lethal. One of the fundamental rules of Magic, one of the heuristics you almost never deviate from, if you're preventing lethal, you pass to the opponent. Let's let them do what they're going to do, and then we can use our Seeker. All right, so there is the removal, so the game does continue. So I think now we've got plenty of mana, so let's go ahead and pull out a land before we loot. I already have a forest to discard. I guess we'll grab like a snow land. Like I said, they are losing their 2 creatures. Granted, they're going to draw 3, but they are losing their 2 creatures. So now we don't need our Hawk up. Maybe I should have looted pre-combat. I would have had lethal here. It's alright. As long as they didn't draw Frostbite. They definitely weren't holding one. So as long as they didn't draw one, let's go ahead and take out that Mistwalker now while they're tapped. And back to the opponent. Happy with everything except maybe I should have hawked pre-combat, because if I draw removal or bounce, then like I did, I could use it to clear one of their 2 blockers. The tricky thing is, if they didn't have removal or bounce, they were dead. And if they have removal or bounce, that can interact. And so in this case, they might have been able to interact with struggle, and it might have been not much different. To be fair, though, if I had drawn a different removal or bounce spell that wasn't a fight spell, it would have been substantially better to do the Pilfering Hawk loot pre-combat. So it might have been a mistake to do it post-combat. Really depends on everything I have, like what I could have looted into. I don't think there's much. Like, I have 2 struggles, but like I said, a removal would most likely interact with struggle anyway. I would have had to struggle with one of the bigger creatures to be able to take out their blocker, Inga. I guess they wouldn't have gotten to draw 3 cards, though, because they would have killed my creature in response. Oh, no, and then Inga would live. Then I could decide to attack with less, potentially, or not attack on the ground or something, to prevent them from drawing the 3 cards. Like, the trade with Inga wasn't bad or anything like that. Just maybe I don't want to... If I go for the fight pre-combat and they kill it in response, that's 1 dead creature. So then maybe I just send, like, Shepherd in the air, trade it for the 4/3 or not. But again, I did good on the ground, so I don't know. I think it's a pretty close spot. But anyways, let's pretend, hypothetically, I'm drawing into not a fight spell. Let's pretend I'm drawing into just, 4 mana destroy target creature. Then clearly it's way better to draw that pre-combat, because then I just get to kill one of their creatures and then they're dead right now. I don't actually know if I had a single card like that, though. I've got, in this deck, not a lot of removal. It's a good deck. It's got good mana, it's got good power cards. I could have drawn Narfi, which might have changed things, because it would have pumped. I could have looted and played it pre-combat, and that would have pumped, like, my snow creatures, like my Bergstriders. But the only removal I have is the 2 struggles. And then I have 2 Bergstriders, but I already had them both. I've got Narfi, Maja, but I already had the Maja too. So there's not really that much. I have a Morite, which could have copied Bergstrider and tapped something. That might have been the only real removal I could have drawn, or, like I said, maybe Narfi. Okay, so what are we going to do now? So if I attack with everything, if they crack this, they also have to deal with the Shepherd or they die. If I attack with just the Shepherd and the 1/1, then they can deal with the Shepherd and then just take 1. So I think we send all 3 this time. That forces them to have to deal with one of the 2 small creatures, if not both, like what these Pyres do. Oh, these can't be activated. I apologize. These can only be activated as a sorcery. So they can't actually activate the Frost Pyres right now. So nonetheless, though, if I send Shepherd and a 1/1, then they only have to deal with Shepherd. If I send all 3, they have to deal with Shepherd and one of the small creatures. So I think we send all 3. Pretty tight game. I'm probably going to make a few more mistakes in this format than you're used to, and if you're making a few more mistakes, don't feel bad. This is probably the most complicated set they've ever released. The cards have endless text, they all interact, tons of tricks. It's awesome. This is a really, really good direction for Limited and Magic. This set is, I don't like this set as much as I like Zendikar Rising, but that's because Zendikar Rising was really grindy and this is a high power set. But I love seeing how complicated this set is. I hope this is a direction they will continue. It's really, really an exciting direction for Limited Magic. So they were a blue-red deck, like we said. Let's see. Do we want to board in like Snakeskin Veil? They did have 2 squashes, right? I mean, I know they squashed early in the game when they attacked me with the 4/3, and then because it's a changeling, and then they squashed for 2. And then when I did that all-out attack, I think it was also a squash they played then. Even if it wasn't, they played something else. So squash is the kind of expensive removal Snakeskin's pretty good against. You can usually see that coming. I didn't see anything incredible to annul, I don't think. We know they have those 2 lands that sack to deal 2 to everything that I kept talking about. So we would like to take out weak small creatures if we have them. Obviously, like, I'm not going to board out something like Sculptor in a deck with 1,000,000 snow lands. It's just a good ramp. But I could board out, like, Clarion Spirit. Even though there's a busted card in White Weenie, like, off the splash and snow, it's not that great. Like, I have a lot of white sources, so I felt like it was worth including. Plus, it's a 2-mana card to get back with Shepherd. But if they're going to have 2 lands that are sweepers, I think taking that out makes a lot of sense. You can board in, like, the Veil. And then, do we have any other 2 toughness creatures we really want to take out? None of this. Horizon Seeker maybe, but that will likely have already boasted and forced a trade or boasted multiple times. The Hawks, but if I draw multiples, I can loot away, and Hawk kind of forces them to pop that, or I'm discarding my lands. I think just taking out the 1 Clarion Spirit there's fine. And since we didn't really see stuff we want to annul, I think that's pretty much all the sideboarding we'd want to do anyway right now. I think I talk about this from time to time. Sideboarding is good, and sometimes you'll see me board in 4 cards or whatever, but it is better to under-sideboard than over-sideboard. A lot of times I'll see somebody will lose to, like, an artifact, and they'll board in, like, a disenchant type effect, and I'll just be like, you only saw 1 target. Like, what's going to happen when you draw it and they don't draw it? Well, the opponent decided to concede, I guess. I can't control that, so no game 2 here. But there is round 2. 2 more rounds. Shout out to Wizards again for making the best of 3 very reasonable now. It's exactly how I would have designed it. Like, it's 3 rounds. If you're 0-2, then you're basically out. You can maybe play round 3 for fun or not. I'm not even sure. But, like, you don't get a difference in prize. So, like, you're basically out, right? For, like, 1-2 and a 0-2 or 0-3, I think. But otherwise, when you're 1-1, you still play round three because 2-1 wins more prize, and that's how I actually really like it because I'm the kind of person in a draft I never like the single elimination queues that much because sometimes you draft a really sweet deck and you just lose round one, right? And like you still want to see if you can win the next two and get a good record out of your deck because your deck's good. But also, once I'm 0-2, I don't really want to play round three to see if I can 1-2. So they actually designed these pretty much exactly as I would. 3 rounds, 0-2, you're done. If you are 1-1, you still play, and of course, if you're 2-0, you still play. And 3-0 wins a really nice prize. It's just 1-8, and 2-1 you get almost a draft back, right? You get like 1,000 gems plus you got some gems in the draft, the cards, whatever. So all in all, I'm not talking about the economy or the prices, but just in terms of the play structure, just like a good prize for 3-0, a medium prize for 2-1, and like you're basically done when you get 2 losses. You play 3 rounds, and there's incentive to play even when you get a loss. I just really like all of that, so that's why I'm praising it here. All right, so we're gonna path. We don't have anything else to do. Looks like we'll just go get a white. That already unlocks path because I mean we need 2 more mana, but like we have all 5. Glittering Frost can make red, black, green, blue, white. Good times. And then Shepherd can get back path, so that's pretty sweet. This is any permanent, in case you didn't know, not just creatures. Okay, no real decisions for now. Nothing wrong with foretelling, but of course we'd rather ramp. And if we draw lands, we have a pretty nice curve. Turn 5 Maja, turn 6 Lindworm, turn 7 Path. If we don't draw lands, then we're drawing other stuff to do, and we have access to enough mana to do most of the things in our deck. So should be a good game 1 here. Remember, this is the next round in game 1. The last opponent decided not to play game 2. I apologize, but again, I can't control what the opponents do. Yeah, no real decisions. I mean, which land to play isn't really worth thinking about, I don't think. And given they're still on 2 lands and the strategic planning, this is going to be kind of awkward for them. I mean, can't blame the opponent. I would always keep a 2-lander with strategic planning in my hand. I mean, that's 3 more cards to find land 3. They just got really unlucky. I mean, unless they were super greedy and took like some good card hoping to top deck a land instead of taking a land, presumably they just didn't see a land in the 3 cards off planning, and that means they got super unlucky. So again, we saw like no cards, so I can't really imagine we're going to sideboard. So this is a high power format, so cards that don't impact the board tend to underperform. Ramp does okay because the cards get like exponentially better, like 4-drop. A 4-drop is more than 1 mana better generally than a 3-drop. A 5-drop is more than 1 mana better than a 4-drop because of the fact that there's also, it's not just paying 5, there's also the cost that you have to have drawn 5 lands for a 5-drop. So anyways, where I'm going with that is ramp tends to be pretty good in this format because if you get out these big powerful cards early, they're really, really good. But card drawing tends to be not very good in high-powered formats, or like graveyard recursion tends to be not very good in high-powered formats. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying don't play any card drawing or any graveyard recursion in your decks. If a card is good, it's good. Like, for example, Behold the Multiverse is one of the best commons in the set. But that would be a mythic common in a lot of formats. And in this format, it doesn't feel unbalanced. It feels just good. So I think it's, and I don't even think it's the best common. It's the best blue common, but I think Packmate is the best common. And then I think, like, Feed is really good. I think Bound in Gold performs really well. It's probably one of the best I've ever seen the white pacifism perform because there's just all these good equipment and it can hit those. And like I said, it's just a high-power format that really revolves around, like, the big good things. So I could have followed here to get it going right away, but I decided to go with the Glittering Frost. The reason was because I don't have land 5, but Path can search out a land. So if I were to fall this turn, next turn if I don't draw a land, I have 3. What am I going to do? If I play Path, I can't cast anything else. I play a land and pass the turn. If I play Glittering Frost on a tap land next turn, I can't do anything else. This way, I get to play all of it by next turn, all of those cards. Now, even if I didn't draw a land, I could play Path, go get a land, and then play Fall, right? So that's why I chose the sequencing I did. One more time, last turn with 3 lands. If I had had this snow-covered island in my hand, I would have played Fall last turn. because then I could just curve out, turn 3 Fall, start growing the Hawk, turn 4 Yeti. The reason I chose to play the Frost last turn was because that means this turn, even if I didn't draw land, I could go Path, go get a land, make my land drop, and cast Fall. Whereas if I cast Fall last turn, imagine I don't draw land. I can't cast Yeti, I can cast Path, play the land, but then I can't cast anything else. So that's why I chose what I did. Now that I drew the land, though, what do we want to do? Still might just Path and Fall. I mean, I do want to get the Fall ticking. The Hawk's a great target to start pumping. I could Bergstrider, curve out the 4/4, lock down their mana early in the game. That's certainly an option as well. And the next turn I can Path Yeti. I think that's actually better. Locking down a mana... Like, normally you want to play this card, later, not earlier. But locking down a mana creature for a turn early in the game has a lot more value than later in the game. If you haven't played with Bergstrider a lot, this card is really good. The problem with Frostlinks is that you don't really get as much value playing a card that taps down a creature on turn 3 as you do on turn 5 or 6. So you actually want that effect on a bigger body. Like, this, let's just hypothetically say this card and Frostlinks, this is 5 mana, Frostlinks 3 mana, you get an extra 2 power and toughness for an extra 2 mana. Let's just say that's about right. I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but let's just say it's about right. Bergstrider is more better than Frostlinks because you want that effect on a more expensive card on a bigger body. Because if you're playing your Frostlinks on curve because you didn't draw another 3-drop, you're tapping down a 2 or 3-drop. That has less value generally than tapping down a 5-drop. I know I say that in a game as I'm sitting here tapping down their 2-drop, but again, it's a little different because it's a mana ramper. Mana rampers, like I just got done ranting about, have a lot of value in general in the early turns and a lot of value in this format. So I felt like it was worth it to lock it down. If that had been a 2-mana 2/2 that didn't produce mana, I certainly would not have Bergstridered it there. I would have just played Path and Fall of the Imposter last turn. But don't sleep on this card. This card is very good. I'm honestly not even sure that Behold is always better than it. Pick one, pack one, I'd probably take Behold. But if I have, any sort of creature deck with enough snowlands to cast this consistently, I might take this over Behold. I know that's going to be, it's going to be a near offensive to LSV and some of the other people who love card drawing. And look, I'm a blue mage. I like card drawing too. But honestly, 5 mana 4/4 that taps down a blocker and then it doesn't on-tap next turn is just a big game. This card really, really performs well. I looked at it and thought it was going to be good because just starting to think about it, what I just explained with Frostlinks and you want that on a bigger body, I already knew that. But it's even overperforming my expectations, already expecting it to be quite good. Because of the way the format's playing, it's just all about these big, powerful plays and swingy stuff. And this is just a huge swing when you play the Bergstrider. Well, not the best first 2 matches, given, game 1 was pretty good, really good, actually, round 1, but then my opponent just didn't play game 2, and then that match, game 1, they got mana screwed, not their fault, they kept a 2-lander with strategic planning based on the information we had and whiffed, and then that game I had a really good draw, and they conceded. Let's see if round 3 is going to be any tougher. This is a really good snow deck. I'm not, like I said, before we started playing these matches, I would be disappointed to go less than 2-1. Now we'll upgrade that to I'll be disappointed to go less than 3-0, but that's only because I'm already 2-0. Honestly, no deck, no matter how good, is really ever a favorite to go 3-0. There are tons of decks that are a favorite to go 2-1, but to be a favorite to go 3-0, your deck needs to have an incredible win rate. Alright, so let's play the Sculptor. Even though we don't have a Snowland, we can go get it with Path. And if we draw a Snowland here, then this will be fantastic, right? Oh, no, we don't even need to, because we can just tap 3 mana, Glittering Frost a land, then we can untap it with Sculptor, because Glittering Frost turns it into a Snowland, and then we can use it for 2 mana. And next turn, we practically have infinite mana, because Glittering Frost plus Sculptor is just ridiculous. I think I could sack this Path on turn 4 now if I want to. Guess we'll get the island. Next turn, I have access to 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, and I can blue, white, green, add a black the first time I tap this land, a red the second time. If they don't kill Sculptor here, I'm literally going to sack Path to kill their 2/2 on my 4th turn. That's incredible. So the only question we have to ask is which one we want to kill. Well, they denied us a choice. That's okay. So I could do it later or now. I think I'm just going to do it now. No reason to risk letting them have a pump spell or something. Not worried if they sorcery speed kill my 2/2, right? So, this is just incredible. This is worth the price of admission all by itself. Have you sacked Path on turn 4 or seen anybody sack Path on turn 4? I think this is the first time I've done it in the format, and I've drafted plenty of snow. So next turn we have access to up to 8 mana if they don't kill Sculptor. We don't really need 8. We'll probably just play Clarion Spirit and struggle. That'll give us the 2 spells. I guess we don't actually have anything to struggle away their 3/3 Lifelinker. While you don't want to race Lifelinkers, obviously I'm a late game deck, and Red-White is the most aggressive deck in the format. I obviously don't know my opponent's deck, but just like, you know, in the dark, the white and red are the 2 most aggressive colors in this format, and they're both very aggressive. So white-red decks tend to be really aggro in this format. Okay, well, that gives us a nice way to spend our 8 mana. This is beautiful. Now I can just go Clarion and Lindworm, make a 1/1 flyer, get the Clarion out, get a 6/6. I mean, the opponent might seriously concede to this. This has been a beating I've been giving the opponents in these games, frankly. I mean, I've been having really good draws, and my opponents haven't been having that great of draws. But, I mean, this is just beautiful. I almost feel bad for them. Key there being almost. So for anybody who's watching, you know, I used to make draft videos all the time, then I started streaming. So we've been uploading all the Twitch streams. Obviously, this is a little different. You know, I'm able to focus my thoughts a little better because I'm not interacting with the chat live, which I absolutely love, by the way. If you do get the chance to check out my Twitch stream live, definitely, you know, I'm always encouraging people to ask questions, to talk. It's a very active stream. You know, like the viewers are always suggesting picks and plays, and, you know, there's a lot of good conversation that goes on around that. But obviously, a draft video, like I said, is a little different. So if you like this kind of content, let me know. If you find this in the Twitch stream to be like comparable, I'll probably mostly upload the streams. But if you're really liking this, I'll continue making weekly videos again. Not every single week, because once I get bored of the format or something, I'm probably not going to make them. But you know, this is something this year that I decided I wanted to get back into because I always really like doing. Okay, so what are we doing? We can kill their bigger 2 creatures with these struggles, but we'll have to do it with the Lindworm, which is no big deal. We'll just lose the +1/+1 counters. I mean, those are both worth struggling by all means, but we don't need to struggle them. This gives haste and +1/+0, but not +1/+1. So 2 1/1 tokens can block the 3/2 flyer. So I don't think we want to struggle that. I'll probably struggle away the 3/3 Lifelinker here and play Horizon Seeker. And then we can just leave the 1/1 back, along with the other 1/1 token to block the 3/2. So we have more than enough mana now. Any trade for this 3/2 would be good for us. So I think what I'm going to do here is just double spell pre-combat. This way, if they want to trade with Clarion Spirit, I get another 1/1 flyer. Because we're entering the point where, like, how many more times am I going to double spell? Yeah, I have 1 spell left in hand, so maybe 1 more time. So I'm more than willing to miss out on a 1/1 flyer to trade Clarion Spirit here for a 3/2 flyer, right? That's a pretty big trade up at this point. Remember, you don't view the cards in a vacuum mid-game. Clarion Spirit is a way better card than this Stalwart here. I don't know how to say the second word. But now that we're here on turn 8, I've got 1 spell left in hand. Clarion Spirit is not a better card than this 3/2 flyer in play. So I'll give them the information that by playing my spells pre-combat. This way, if they want the trade, they can make it, but I already got the second 1/1 flyer here. If they don't want it, cool. Then I got in 2 extra damage. So that's why I chose to do my stuff pre-combat instead of post-combat. Because I was planning to attack the Clarion Spirit. If I wasn't going to attack with the Clarion Spirit, I would have attacked with these 4, not given them that information. Then on post-combat, I would have went Horizon Seeker, struggled the Lindworm on the 3/3 lifelink. As you can see, look at the size of all the creatures in play. Even not counting the token making, like, I've got a 2/2, I know there's a token 2, but a 2/2, a 2/2, a 3/2, they have a 3/2, a 3/2, a 1/1. The creatures are really small in this format, like, a lot of them, which is why equipment performs so well. This is also a format where equipment's probably performed the best I've ever seen. Also, in case you don't follow me on Twitter, I tweeted out about 3, 4, or bigger creatures really overperform in this format. And Ravenous Lindworm is awesome. This is a card I want multiple copies of in any green deck that's not like super aggressive. It stops beatdown, it makes it hard for flyers to race you, and it just dominates the board with its size. It's just a really good card. Okay, so similar to last turn, I might do things pre-combat. I think I do. 4, 6. Well, I actually can't double spell pre-combat and activate Horizon Seeker without playing this forest. And I don't want to play this forest because I want to potentially loot it away with the Hawk. So, and the only way they can kill the Clarion Spirit this time in combat is if they have something, which I don't know if they can have, because there's the deal 5 to a tap creature. It's 1 mana if you foretold it, but they don't have anything foretold. So I think actually this time we don't do anything pre-combat. We just attack. Because I don't think there's really anything they can do with 1 white. I mean, there might be some trick I'm not thinking of. But as far as the common ones that are played, like, that card's good. 3 mana instant, deal 5 to a tapped creature. And it has foretell, and it's 1 if you foretold it, but they don't have anything foretold, so they can't play that this turn. And now, post-combat, we'll just do everything. I didn't mean to really manually tap that, but I'm not too worried. Struggle away the big flyer again for sure. Make another 1/1 by double spelling. The only thing I might have sort of done wrong there was getting a non-snow land. I forgot this was a snow island. I just looked at it for a second and for some reason it thought it might be a swamp. And obviously it's more important to me that I have a snow island. I mean that I have an island out, even if I could cast this like with the land. But I probably could have just gotten like a snow swamp there because I had the island. I just looked at it and thought it was a swamp. Okay, so white-red aggro. So we want to slow them down. Stuff like, we saw 2/3/2 flyers, though, so we do need to interact in the air. So I think this 4/2 that can trade with those is going to be good against them. 2/4 ground blocker's good. Miss kills one of those 3/2 flyers. So that all looks pretty good. Let's board out any, like, slow stuff that's not good. All of this stuff is good. All of this stuff is good. It's going to be hard to board stuff out in this. Frost, this is an aggressive card. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but I'd rather have the Kin Seekers against an aggro deck, especially when I'm on the draw. I don't know if I can take out Behold. I mean, Behold, like I said, isn't going to be the best in this matchup, but I don't know. All right, well, Horizon Seeker we can take out. This is a Boast creature against an aggro deck. That's basically a 3-mana 3/2 on the draw in this matchup. That's a pretty easy cut. Also, even though Hawk's 2 mana, it doesn't really block. I'm not really looking to loot against them very much, so we can definitely take out a Hawk. So now we get like a better 2 mana interactive card to slow them down than a 1/2 that doesn't block well. And then a 2/4 that has a nice positive ability if we do trigger it, compared to a 3/3 that's good against other defensive decks, but not good against aggro decks. So is that what we want to do? And I like this 4/2 to trade with those 3/2 flyers, make sure I don't lose in the air. Certainly better than Horizon Seeker on the draw in this matchup. Could bring in another Kin Seekers or a Way Down, but I'm not necessarily going to get to trade early. I don't have that many early drops. Clarion Spirit off the splash is probably not great, but it's not that light a white splash. I have, 4 sources for turn 2, and then Path makes 5, and then all the Glittering Frosts. Yeah, let's leave that in. This looks right to me. If I have enough colored sources for everything, I probably could have took out a land on the draw. Probably should have, because I think with all those Glittering Frosts, I'm still playing like 17 lands, I think, maybe 16. Probably 16, because I have Path and all that, but either way, a lot of lands. The reason being, I have 2 of the white land that sacks to draw cards, and I just use my mana incredibly well. But on the draw, I could probably have 1 less land and still make land 3 pretty consistently, whereas on the play, I probably should have 1 more land, like 15 on the draw, 16 on the play, or 17 on the play, 16 on the draw. Okay, so we don't have green, but that's our main color. I think I have like 10 green sources. I also have turn 2 Hawk, and I can loot to find green. That's pretty slow, and I'm certainly hoping it doesn't go that way. But given how many green sources we have, and we have the backup plan of Hawk, I don't think we want to mull this. As you know, if you watch my content, I'm against mulliganing. And hopefully they'll only play ground creatures, and then we can just brick wall them with Ice Hide Troll with 2 mana up on turn 4. I'm not going to play Ice Hide Troll next turn, even if it means taking an extra, like, 4 damage if they play, like, another ground 2/2, because they could just kill it. But the turn after, since I have Glittering Frost for this turn, I could play Ice Hide Troll with mana up. So that looks very good to me. So we want to play the non-snow basic, and then Glittering Frost that, turn it into a snowland. And now next turn we play Ice Side Troll with 2 up, and then presumably they can't attack on the ground unless they have something surprising or have removal. Like there's some things that kill it, like Bounding Gold. And then if they do that, or just don't attack on the ground, and a turn we can miss the flyer. So this works out pretty well. Ultimately, we still have to deal with all these flyers, but hopefully we won't take too much more damage, and then we can start looting and find some more answers. I don't have a ton, but 2 struggles, slow them down with the Bergstriders. I mean, we got the 4/2 that we boarded in. Flyers can be a problem for me. Like, you saw during sideboarding how I was like, I got to get this 4/2 reach in, this miss in, ways to deal with flyers. I'm not going to pretend flyers aren't necessarily going to be a problem for me, because they definitely could be. So, if they move the pick to the Raptor, I'm going to miss one of the Starhelm Coursers, because they could always move the pick somewhere else. If they put a pick on Courser, I will miss that one, of course. I'm not that worried about them killing the Troll now that we're in combat and they only have 2 cards. So, and they played all flyers, so I'm just going to miss one of these Coursers to save 2. With the Hawk out, the Fall of the Imposter is a lot better right now, too, so that's kind of nice. If I grow this to a 2/3, it becomes a pretty good blocker. Alright, so for now, if I play the Bergstrider, I can tap, like, this 2/2 Courser, and then I can block the Braggart with the Bergstrider. If they move the pick to it, I can always double block it, so that seems fine. And I can still have a land to loot. And I can loot away both these Glittering Frosts, so I can just play the Swamp. So that looks good. So I think, even though I'm dropping Ice Hide Troll shields, I think this is right. I feel better about the ground, even if they kill the Troll here, even though I'm not ecstatic about that, because it's a really good card with all snow mana like this. I mean, I've still got the 4/4 to work the ground with. I'm trying to win this game as a control deck. I'm already at 9. They're at 25. I mean, this Ice Hide Troll can be like a mythic common in some games like this. Like, I could triple pump it. So this could attack as an 8-power indestructible. The problem is, like, they could always chump with this Courser, and, like, I'm just not going to win the race. So for now, I need to just not miss turns of Hawking, because all I need to do really is find an answer to 1 more flyer, and I'm pretty comfortable. They have these 2 that I can't really block with the Hawk. But as soon as I answer one of them, like, it's 2 a turn, and then when I answer the other one, I'm good. And if I draw, like, the fight spell, I can fight off this 2/2, and then the Hawk will be a 2/3, and it can stop the Raptor indefinitely. So theoretically, 1 struggle stabilizes me. Otherwise, maybe 2 removal. But, like, you know, some of the removal is, like, Path. I also have some flyers. Well, that's a good card. So, what does this do? Moves around stuff, and the equipped or enchanted creature has double strike. Not good for me. You remember my plan of double blocking the Braggart? Not looking so good right now. But it doesn't give First Strikers double strike, it just gives it to the equipped creature. So I'm not going to be taking 8 going to 1, so I have to put something in front of that. I think it's Bergstrider. I'm not sure, because Ice Hide Troll can theoretically stop the ground creatures. So I think I don't want to chump with the Hawk. Like, I need to be looting, plus the Flying Body. So I think I actually have to chump with Bergstrider. This is sad. But, well, I don't have to loot now. I take no damage this turn. I'm not going to pretend it's a good turn. They played a busted rare, and I had to chump block with a 4/4. But let's see what we can find. Alright, so we can Morite, Ice Hide, Troll, and then the ground will be more locked up. We still have to deal with the air. I probably just copy the Hawk, right? The only problem is that I don't have 2 for the Troll. So I mean, I really need to develop my mana a little bit. I just don't know if I can. Might be too slow. Like, if I play this and copy Troll, I get a 4/5. So while I won't be able to activate Troll, the only creature that can really attack profitably on the ground will be whatever has this pick on it. If I copy the Hawk, I'm stabilized in the air, but my ground is rough this turn. I have to deal with, like, Braggart and Halvar. I guess I can chump one with Hawk, with the small Hawk. I guess that kind of works if they don't have anything. I think I need the Flyer. Plus, if I have a big flying Hawk that won't die, like, indefinitely, that could, like, allow me to keep looting and dig up answers. So I think this is the right play. It's definitely pretty tight. I mean, if I have to go to 1 now, like I can, I mean, the plan is to use the little Hawk to chump wherever the pick is, basically. Assuming it's on, like, the Halvar or the Braggart. If they put it on one of the Flyers, I guess I still have to chump that. Yeah, but then I can, like, take 8 and go to 1, so I don't know. This is tight. This is very tight. If they have anything else, they just win for sure. Like, if they play, like, Bounding Gold here, I'll just concede. But if they just go to combat, I mean, again, chumping turn after turn is real bad, but, like, you know, I do have Behold and a Looter going, and Ice Hide Troll, once I can leave mana up, is a good ground wall. So this is a really big turn. I don't have any sweepers. That part's unfortunate. But, you know, this is a 3/4 flyer. If I draw Struggle, I can struggle away Halvar, and then this will be bigger than everything, theoretically. Not saying I like my chances, because I don't. But if they have nothing else, I don't think it's over. I was about to say, it would be pretty bad if they didn't send Halvar. They should not be afraid of me double blocking it here, even if they have nothing. I have to put a blocker on this to not be dead. So if I want to then trade my 3/4 flyer for their 4/4 ground creature here, and tie up my Troll and my 3/4 flyer, and then take 5, that's pretty good for them. Like, I doubt I'm even going to end up blocking Halvar. Probably just doing something like this. Taking 7. Yeah, that looks right to me. I'm not even remotely trying to play around anything. I'm just hoping they don't have anything else to play. The 1/2 is dying, so let's get our loot. That's another nice card. Okay, that's a lot of 2/2s. Well, that gives us 2 blockers. It's probably not enough. I could Behold, but I don't think I have anything to even look for. So I think I'm just going to play Maja in the land. Maybe they'll be afraid to attack. Theoretically, I'm dead. They now have 6 attackers and I'm at 2. Even though this one looks like it has 1 power, they can always move the pick there, and then they have 6 2-power attackers, so I need 6 blockers. I guess I could draw Lindworm, but I don't think I have enough mana to draw it off Behold. If I Pilfering Hawk into Lindworm, can I live? No, then I don't even have any flyers up. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I have no outs here, so I'm just going to play this. Maybe I shouldn't show them anything, but maybe they'll be scared to attack. My creatures are big, so maybe they won't realize that they can just alpha for the win. Who knows? if this was like a sweeper, but I was still dead, like obviously most sweepers would bail me out of this, but if this was like the kind of sweeper that would leave me still dead, I would never play it. But this isn't really a surprise card. Like, I don't think showing them this is going to change how they play your sideboard. Whereas, like, sweepers have a lot more value when your opponents don't know about them. Alright, we're dead. So, game 3, round 3 for all the marbles. And by that I mean the 3-0. Do we want anything different on the play? We still didn't see much for this, right? Just that one bound and gold we saw in game 1. What about a null? Halvar, the equipment side's nullable, but the god isn't. I don't think. It's not an enchantment, is it? The one bound and gold's a good target. The pick is fine, but it's hard to hit. It's only 2 mana. I mean, they did have 2 coursers, so that makes me think they might be more likely to have more artifacts and enchantments. I mean, we saw 2.5 targets, I guess. Maybe more like 2, because you're probably playing the god side more than the equipment side of Halvar. Although the equipment's pretty powerful, too. I don't think I want to know, because it is situational. They are an aggro deck. Could be okay. Do I have anything actually bad against them? I mean, Hawk's pretty bad. Clarion Spirit's okay. The rest of these cards seem pretty good. Yeah, I don't think I want a situational card. I got ran over a little bit there. They were on the play. I'm on the play this game. Hopefully I'll just get a good hand, and it'll be more like game 1 than game 3. Two-lander on the play. 2 Glittering Frost. Mist to slow them down. I can't mull this. Hopefully we draw 1 land, and then we're off to the races. I mean, if the Mist creature chumps, we can get back Mist with Shepherd and put it on something else. Lindworm is one of the best cards in our deck against them. I mean, it's giant and gains life. Mist kills a flyer. I don't think there's any way I can mull this hand. Just gotta hope we draw 1 land, and then we have access to 5 already. Obviously, if I stumble, it's going to be really painful against a red-white aggro, but I don't have sweepers. I'm not mulliganing to any, because there's the upside I might draw, card X against them or something. Pretty much this is what my deck does. Just hopefully I'll draw a land right away. If I get stuck after that, okay. If I have to, do some work. Turn 3, I play Frost. Turn 4, if I don't draw a land, I can play Frost on an on-tap land, play Mists. I'm not going to miss here because, as you can see, I'm much better at clogging up the ground than I'm in the air. So, hopefully we'll get a land. No. Boo. Now I have a decision because of Mists. I mean, if they play a 2/2 flyer, I really want to miss that. But there's no guarantee they're going to do that. And whenever I do try and turn the tides, if I draw lands, 1 mana struggle is going to be a lot cheaper than 4 mana struggle. So I think I'm going to foretell it. I still don't want to miss the Usher. I know it's tempting, but it doesn't shut off the Boast ability. And, I mean, look, if they have no other creatures, I'm going to really regret this. But ultimately, ground creatures are not a big problem for Maja and Lindworm. Flyers are a huge problem. So, okay, so now, can we still afford to play Frost? It's too bad. Last turn would have been great if we had drawn the land. Now I might have to just leave up Mists. Miss a flyer pre-combat or Usher in combat now that it has 3 power. Otherwise, I'm taking 3, 4, 6, 7, minimum. I mean, it's not going to be a lot more. They have to tap the Cavalry, but it could be to give haste, but it could be a little more. Plus, we have a chance to get a flyer, because if they have a 3/2 flyer, they're going to play it pre-combat probably. But if they have a 2/2 flyer, they're not, because why would you play it and give it haste when you could just attack with the Cavalry and play it? But ultimately, I do have the 3/3 flyer and the fight spell. So I guess this is what it is. And they also put the code spell counter on the Usher, so I think I have to save that 3 damage. Not super happy about the way my choices worked out, but that doesn't mean they were wrong. I mean, it is still a winnable game. If their turn is attack and make a 1/1, we can win this game. If we draw, like, well, I mean, I guess next turn is going to be kind of rough. I don't really have anything to do, like, besides glitter, even if I draw the land. Maybe that was a reason to glitter. No, but if I drew a land, I'd still have to play the land in Maja. I wouldn't be able to play the land after Maja. This was just going to be rough regardless. So hopefully we draw a land, we can glitter, we don't die, and then we can either go Maja land or Lindworm. Oh, I should have foretold Shepherd. I just forgot. I apologize for that. I wasn't, like, holding it because I wanted to bluff something or something. I won't pretend otherwise. I simply forgot that I had the Shepherd with Foretell in hand. It's not the worst. Pick's a nice card. If you haven't played with this, don't sleep on this equipment. You know, the swords that have given +1/+1 have traditionally not really been enough to be worth including in your deck. But it's a lot different when you're making treasures, because that's mana, which is a really valuable resource in the early game. So that makes this, that's a substantial upgrade. All right, well, that's a lot of creatures. So what are my choices now? I can Frost a land, play Clarion Spirit, and Struggle, and then I get the 1/1 token too, right? No, wait. I have to have the Spirit out when I play my second spell. So I actually, that sort of doesn't work, because if I play the Clarion Spirit first, then the Frost, I get the 1/1, but then the Frost is going to tap land because all my mana is tapped. Is there any way to do this? I mean, don't get me wrong, I can just not play the Frost, which might be what I have to do. Play Clarion Spirit and Struggle, because otherwise I'm playing Maja and I don't have a land to play, and I don't have a land for Lindworm. But I can't go, like, Frost on an on-tap land, Spirit, because then this isn't in play when I play my second spell, and this would be my third spell, not my second, so I wouldn't get a 1/1. Given how far behind I am, I think we're going to have to hope to rip a land. I'm pretty sure this is the right play this turn. I won't forget to foretell the Shepherd again, at least. Let's go ahead and take out the haste thing. Now we have 2 blockers and we kill one. Back is certainly to the wall. We're probably going to die, but we're not dead on board. We're dead to a removal. That's exactly 5. But if they don't have a removal, I mean, 3/3 is bigger than their creatures. We can trade, eat, go to 2, and then we can catch back up with Lindworm, with Shepherd to get back Clarion, with Maja and a land. If only I would have played that Mist turn 2, huh? I mean, the Codespell Cleric counter would have ended up somewhere else, so it would have been tight. I probably wouldn't die at this exact spot. But that's exactly lethal. So, no 3-0 in Trophy for me, but it's a pretty fun draft. I know the first couple rounds, the game, we only got like, I mean, the game 1, round 1 was really good, and then they just conceded game 2, don't ask me why. But I thought the draft was really interesting. I thought that game was really good. This match was pretty good. So sometimes I delete some of these when people just concede games and stuff, but I think this was worth sending in. So I hope you enjoyed this content. I'm going to be posting it, which you know because you're watching it on my YouTube channel. Like I said, if you like it, let me know. If you prefer the Twitch streams, let me know. Either way, thanks for following my content. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you had a good time, and I'll see you with the next video.